What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Kylie Minogue as we continue through this multi-release, multi-album curated journey provided by Robert. Big thank you once again. And we are currently going through the tracks Robert selected from her 1990 album Rhythm of Love. And the next one he put in the folder is Shocked, which, at least as conjugated here, is a state of mind, a state of being, one which relates to extreme surprise, perhaps even apoplexy, feeling stunned and maybe even stung. And I suppose this is not necessarily the case. It could be more neutral, but typically when one uses the word shocked, it's in relation to outrage or feeling extremely surprised in a negative or unpleasant way, and often in relation to behavior, statements, or experiences which go outside the bounds of, beyond the typical range of common or expected behavior or attitudes or actions. So yeah, it feels like something that is unpleasant. It is a single word title. Those are tough to get a read on, so I'll see what I can catch on a first hearing. This is Kylie Minogue. The tune is Shocked, and it's from her 1990 album Rhythm of Love. Quick fade, a shorter one, like 3.5 minutes, maybe even 3. Yeah, just a little over 3 minutes. So definitely a shorter tune. It's very early 90s, though it does seem to combine some different flavors stylistically, at least as my ears and brain hear it, meaning it's definitely dance floor, and that keyboard riff, that piano style keyboard riff, it's very early 90s dance music, underground party. And again, that's a little bit before I joined the scene. I went to my first party in '96, by which time there's some different genres that had evolved and spun out of earlier ones, and so it wasn't the rave music I was hearing, but part of it, the dance floor part of this one, it reminds me of tunes that I've heard people who are a little bit older than me going to rave parties here in Southern California and presumably in other places around the world. It reminds me of a kind of tune that they had heard at their earliest parties. Secondarily, it is very like early 90s trip hop a little bit. There's some lower end which had a bit of grit to it, and just kind of the rhythms of it felt very early 90s trip hop. And then it still had a pop sound, in part I think because of her vocals, but the string synth that came in, or at least was very notable in the second half, and just the overall brightness of the tune. So yeah, it felt a bit pop, a bit dance, a bit trip hop, somewhere in there, which again, early 90s, that feels like it's not an uncommon sound, but I get it. This is 1990, so maybe on the cutting edge or the front end of that. I will say also, like, in the verses, this one felt as close to like, oh, this could be a Madonna song as I've yet heard from Kylie. And again, like Madonna, it's an artist that I heard some of her 80s stuff, not all of it, and that was a very cool thing to get a fuller sense of that. Thank you again to Mark, when I started doing these deep dives. But again, Madonna's like mid-80s stuff, there were at least a few of her hit songs that I heard, and they just had that kind of synth pop sound, that, kind of bright synth pop sound that was very compelling to my ear then and now. But yeah, this one felt like a bit like a Madonna tune, at least in certain parts. Maybe not the whole thing, but that did. Hello again. So yeah, a little technical difficulty there. There was some noise going on around here to the point where I was distracted and I stood up. So I'm cutting that out so you don't have to, watch me walk away from the camera for a minute or two and try to figure out what was happening. I think it was something in my neighbor's apartment. In any case, the point is, we continue, and I will say the themes are actually not quite what I thought. The essence of the phrase shocked, or the term shocked, seemed to be happier or surprised in a good way more than I thought, which is to say, it sounds like she's been rocked down to her foundation because of the power of love, how much it's taken her over and made her feel like, what was it, above the universe, and sort of looking down, almost like an out-of-body experience. And she's saying if you had told her yesterday or the day before, what she'd be feeling, how intense she'd be feeling, she'd say, oh, don't lie, like that, that I don't believe that. So yes, maybe I'm misreading it, but it sounded like it was actually a positive shocked, and in relation to how fully and powerfully love has affected her. So yes, again, the album title being Rhythm of Love, the theme on this tune, the sonics of this tune, it feels all very synced together. So in any case, a cool tune from Kylie, a fun one. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.